Hello and welcome to day 10 of our January challenge 2026, working on Karen Marshall Say's beautiful piece, The Grey Heron Stands. A new section today. We're starting then at bar 49, but with the upbeat. I'm going to play it for you first, and as you listen, I want you to really notice those dynamics, because we start mezzo forte, we go up to forte, and then we come down, and by the end of this little late bar phrase, we are pianissimo. So quite a broad range. And pianissimo, that double P, that is the quietest we've been yet in the whole piece. So as I've mentioned before, all our dynamics are relative. So in isolation right now, it won't mean as much as it does. But as I'm going through and play the whole piece, that needs to be the quietest I've played yet. So there does need to be scope when I'm playing quiet earlier on for an even quieter option that comes here. Okay, here we go. Let's have a listen. I'm going to start that again. I did something really odd in my left hand there. It's got a funny little cross, and I've got to be sure what I'm doing there. So it goes like this. And I have my harmonic marked so that I can get that in, but doing a really nice quiet one down there. Okay, so let's see where we're up to and what we need to do. Our left hand is up in treble clef, and I actually want to start with that. So we have the F shape, F, C, F one of those, octave in the fifth. So again, think about how we're opening out to that. We're going to get our thumb and allow the fourth finger to extend, and then our middle finger will fall quite naturally onto that C. And then when we cross under, from this F, we want to make a triad. So we want to skip a string and go to the A with the finger that you've crossed under with, and then open up to the C. Okay, if I show you through the strings what I'm doing there, I am going 4, 2, 1, 2, 1. Depending on your hand, you may need or wish to go 4, 2, 1 and go to a 3. If that's comfier on the crossing under, whatever works for you. So, okay. My next bar, I have a triad. So if I put my thumb on the black, because it ends on an F, and open up a triad from there, so either side of the red, I play the 3, I play the 2, then I need to pause for half a beat before I come in with the F. So I do need to be a little bit careful there, because having just gone boom, 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 it's really tempting in my left hand in the next bar just to go da, da, dum. And there's just a wait, it's da, 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 coming in that little bit later. Okay, so we just practice those two bars for a second, just that left hand with the F. Okay, we're starting mezzo forte, so just a nice normal kind of feeling volume, and we're going to crescendo. So each one of these quavers or each one of these notes wants to be a little bit louder than the one that came before. Are we ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and. Wait. Did you wait? Did you get it? We try again. So again, I might just do a little shake from my shoulder. Opening up, really thinking about that shape. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and. Triad. Wait. Good job. Okay, so that's our left hand there. Over the top of that, leading in, we have a G to an A. Now, I think I've mentioned earlier on about this idea of trying to use a 3 going to a 2 so that we have a really beautiful A. If we go 2, 1, there's a chance it can really sort of sound really piercing, really sort of cutting through. If we do 3 to 2, oh, I'll do that well. Can you hear the difference in that? How that is got a much more gentleness to it and a much more even tone between the two. So 3, 2. And that's then a nice long note. We've got a dotted crotchet there, or a dotted quarter note. So time to come off. And then 4 in a row heading down. This, I hope, might feel familiar. We did this kind of thing back in day 4. So then we go 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to come off there, even though we're going straight back up. 3, 2, and this time we've got a triad. So the G's already placed. Open up your hand to a triad from that. So that would end up with your 3rd finger on a red. And we're going to do a tadium. We're going to do that rolled chord on there. And we've crescendoed to that point. So that's a really nice high point again in that moment. So we've got the volume increase, we've got the roll, we've just walked back up to it. It works so beautifully to get out of there. So can we try that? We're going from the G to the A, where we'll come off. Then we're putting 4 in a row from the G heading downwards. So heading towards the red, but not quite getting there. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll come off. Then the 3, 2, 1 will go back on what they just played, but we've worked out earlier on it was nicer to come off than try and place up to that. All 3 will go on there. We'll play the 3, play the 2, open up your triad, and then do your tadium. Really try and finish those fingers really beautifully, and that thumb, so you get that lovely rich sound. Can we do that in time? I will count you in. It'll be a 1 and 2 and, because we're coming in on that upbeat. Okay, here we go. 1 and 2 and. Moving on. Lots of time. And tadium. Okay. I didn't do much with my dynamics there, so I'm going to try it again, and I'm going to start maybe a touch quieter and then really build through. So if you can join me on that. Ready? G to the A, finger 2 on the A. 1 and 2 and. Going to get louder. Building up. And. Good job. Okay, so that's sitting on top of this lovely F shape that we had. Remember where we crossed under? Going to the triad, but being careful with our time. Okay, so if we put those 2 together, we have the lead in G, then this A is going to land with that bass 4. We play the next couple of notes, we've crossed under, and then we're going to join together. Now we're going to have an A in this left hand against a G in the top. So we've got a bit of a clash there. And then we have a nice sound on the very next beat that we get to. And then as we come down to the 4, our left hand's opened up to a triad, and we start with the lowest note. Left hand carries on. Right hand comes in with finger 3. Left, right. And then the triad. Okay, so that's the structure of what's happening, but if we put it now into our time. So 3, 2, and then our left hand coming in. I'm going to do this very, very slowly for a minute, just to help you really feel where that lands, okay? So really, really slowly. 1 and 2 and 2 together. Triad ready. Okay, that makes sense. We do that one more time. 3, 2. Okay, we'll speed it up in a second. So G to the A, and then left hand on those FCFs. 1 and 2 and. And our tadium. Okay, well done. And that chord we've just got to was a C chord, because we had a C at the base of our triad. And our left hand is going to open up to a C, one of those. So think about your octave, think about where the thumb's going. C, G, C. Okay, so is what's happening down there. Okay, there is more, but I just want to get us to there. Okay, so let's put that a bit more into more of the flow of it. Da, dum, ba, dee, da, dum. Okay, 1 and 2 and. Going to the red. Okay, let's try that again. Putting it on, Maybe just do another shake and another roll of those shoulders. Okay, ready? G to the A at the top, F, C, F in the bass. 1 and 2 and. Getting louder. Good, okay. So, this right hand is really pulling on this similar thing that we've done before. If I go back to bar 27, 28, bar 29, we had. That's what we did on day 5. So this is very similar. Very similar, just subtle difference in our rhythm, but it has that lovely familiar feel about it. So after we've done that triad in the right hand, we then have a run of 4 from the F in a row all the way down to that red. Okay, so okay, so that gets us to the end of those 4 bars. We had the C, one of those underneath it, C, G, C, and it's going to cross under just 1 string and 1 string. So if you've ever had the joy of playing Charlotte Peterson's arrangement of Gallic Air, it's the accompaniment part, the left hand part of that. So I always think of it as that pattern: C, G, C, D, E. Okay, timing of that, we had the triad crossing under and both carrying on together. And then as we come to the C, we're going to do an A octave. Okay, it's a nice different feel putting that A in there. We've not had that kind of chord feel before. So it really leaves you hanging. Ooh, what are we going to do next? Where are we going? Okay, well, let's put those 4 bars together before we find out. So G, A, da, dee, da, dum, growing in volume and dying out. Okay, G to A, F, C, F in the left. 1 and 2 and. Big point. Where are we going? We're going to finish our phrase. So, right hand, D to E, and again we're going to come off after the E, and I really like the idea of using 3 to 2 rather than going 2, 1 and it being a bit sort of harsh. It'll be a little bit harsh, but 3, 2, really warm. So we're going to go 3, 2, take that pattern down 1 to the D and the C. We're going to go 2, 3, 2. So D, C, D, and I'm going to go 2, 3, 2. So I've got to do a quick replace of that 2. Okay, then we take that pattern down 1 again. So my finger 2 is now on the red, 3 is on the B, and the same pattern, da, da, da. Okay, so we'll just put that little bit together. We're almost there. So D, E, 3, 2, da, 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 da. Okay, do that with our right. 1 and 2 and da, dum, and da, dum, and. Good, and then to finish that we have another B, C. B, C. So notice I didn't use my thumb at any point during these 4 bars. 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2. Okay, underneath that, left hand, it's having just been really busy, it's now going to open up a bit of room for us. So we're going a G to an E. So if we think about the E being just below the black, and then opening up with our 3rd finger because it's quite a reach. Actually, that's quite nice, isn't it? Because we're just inside the black on both strings. So we're going to play the G to the E, and we're going to think about maintaining this shape. Because then if we go, so that was just inside the blacks, If we go down to just inside the reds, so thumb below the red here on the B, and just above on the D here, and do 3-1. Yeah, okay, just do those two again. So G, E, D, B, ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 3 and. Good, and really work on moving that hand to be placed ready on that next part. Okay, then we open up to stretched out one of those. So it's kind of like the CGC. We're playing with that chord, but our thumb is actually going to go all the way up to an E. It's filling out the middle note of a triad shape. Now you may be able to place all of those in one go. You may find that stretch okay, or alternatively think about the bottom two, so aim with your finger 2 for the G. Have your thumb vertical and up ready, and then you can hop onto it. Okay? Now, it won't be the end of the world if you just play one of those, but it just won't be as rich sounding. Okay, it won't fill out the chord as much. The C, G, E, and then we have, and it's pianissimo, so really delicate, quiet harmonic. Okay, and the only reason I'm landing those so well is because I've marked it on. Okay, and it's so worth it in a piece like this where they're so exposed. Just to, you don't want to sort of be dashing for them and maybe getting them. You want to land it beautifully every time. Okay, so that part, G to E, D to B, C, G, E, and then, okay, and notice how notes are ringing out around it. It's really beautiful. The right hand was the D, E, 2, 3, 2, stepping down and getting quieter. Okay, remembering to still finish those hands. We don't want it to go all sort of tickly. We want it to really be there. Okay, trying that bit together then. Our right hand is on D to E, and there's our E. Left hand just inside the blacks, thumb going to that E as well. So there's a sort of real feel there of correlation with the top hand. Then the left hand, just do a quick move to where it's going next so that you have got that programmed into your head a bit. And you can just do it without looking at the music. You can just have your hand on there and move to there, because it will need your visual attention to do that move. Okay, right, here we go. Are we ready? Going into bar 53, the D to the E, the last 4 bars of this section. Ready? I'll give you 1 and 2 and. 1 and 2 and. Could have died away even more, to be fair. So there's an awful lot in all of this, and I've gone into quite a bit of depth today. I've given you quite a long video for this. Take your time with it, work on it in the 2 sections, and then work on being able to go being able to move from the first half into that. Try and do that diminuendo every time you play it, so that that's just how that bit goes. Okay, join me on the play along where we put all of that together, but do the work first. Spend the time to feel like that's coming together. Okay, and then when it feels like it's coming together, doesn't mean you've got it perfect, but when it feels like it's coming together, then go and do the play along and have a go at that, because it will also bring you on. The play-alongs aren't just for when you feel you've got it. They're also another method for moving you forward in this piece. All right, enjoy. Take care. Well done.